on their Telegram channel. They used to send like 20 or 30 results a day, and I was shocked. Like, how can they produce this much results? And that's why I chose Everest.
Do you think it's important to work smart?
My all-time top 3 favorites are, first one is a show about kids called Stranger Things.
So that's possible. You see just a student who got 8.5 in reading.
From June till December, I have finished about 10 books, I think.
3 main ways that can help students to choose a proper teacher.
Even if your parents cannot understand what you're saying, you can speak in English. Listen to your teacher and ask about anything you want to ask. Don't hesitate.
Hammaga assalomu alaykum. Everest YouTube kanaliga xush kelibsiz. Bugun men IELTS instruktori Ismoilxo'jayev Iskandar, o'zimning o'quvchim Asadbek qanaqa qilib Everestda IELTS 8 natijasini qo'lga kiritganligi haqida ozgincha gaplashamiz. Biz ingliz tilida intervyu qilishga qaror qabul qildik, chunki ingliz tilida Asadbek uchun gapirish ancha qulay. Va shuning uchun hozir Asadbekdan ozgincha o'zi haqida so'raymiz. So Asadbek, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your experience with IELTS?
Hi, my name is Asadbek. I'm 16 years old and I have been studying at Everest Education Center for 2 years. And I could say 2 best years of my life.
And the first question that I'm gonna ask you, so what were the ways that helped you to get that impressive IELTS score of 8?
Actually, there were a lot of ways. There were non-techniques left that I haven't tried. I have tried everything, and I don't really know which one really helped me, but I think that was just like...
You have to be precise, man. So
oh my God. Okay.
You have to give suggestions. You shouldn't say that I don't know about it.
Okay, sorry. So I'm gonna wait.
Okay, look. So now I'm gonna ask. So let's talk about your past experience first. So when you came to Everest, when did you come to Everest? To my classes first.
My first visit to Everest was in 2023, June 12th, I think. Yeah, I was really excited about this new opportunity. I wanted to express myself. I wanted to learn more about English, about IELTS. And I remember the time I came to the reception. I was with my brother and we had a little test to test my knowledge and to know which level I'm on. And then they suggested me multiple groups, but your group was kind of comfortable for me, suitable for me, yeah. And I just went with it, and I was really nervous on my first day, but turns out it wasn't that bad. So
okay, so can you tell me how was your first lesson that you had with me?
My first lesson, I was on a mute mode on my first lesson. I was so nervous that I couldn't say anything. I couldn't ask questions. And I felt like I didn't know anything because all these new words you were using were unfamiliar to me. I didn't know what body 1 was. I didn't know what body 2 or any of those.
Was it all about writing?
Yeah, it was writing lesson on our first day. I think it was about task 1.
Well, how could I impress you? So what was the reason you staying with me?
2 years ago, I was really an introverted person and I wasn't great at communicating with others, my peers and like older people. So in your group, it wasn't really crowded, and like as soon as I stepped into the room, I felt this warm presence and I felt like I belonged here. So I just tried. My first week was not that good because I was questioning myself and I didn't understand anything. It was hard for me to catch up with the lessons. But then after a week, everything started to make sense and I started to understand what you were saying.
That's great, man. So, and the next question is, so do you know, have you had experience before coming to my lessons?
Before coming to Everest, I have never been in another educational center, nor I have studied IELTS. I decided to study IELTS in 2023, and first thing I did was to open my Instagram, and I have searched bunch of accounts of educational centers, and I saw the results, how many nines, how many eights they had, and Everest's results really impressed me because, and on their Telegram channel too, they used to send like 20 or 30 results a day, and I was shocked. Like, how can they produce this much results? That's why I chose Everest. As soon as I saw their Instagram, I knew that they were something great.
So, what are the best ways for students to choose a teacher who suits their learning needs?
Well, I suppose the best way is to try. You can't judge the book by its cover. You have to at least try one of their lessons, sit with them for 2 straight hours and see how they teach, their techniques, their methods, their personality if you can. And you will get the feeling in your heart that is the right teacher for you. You just gotta follow your heart and your instincts.
3 main ways that can help students to choose a proper teacher.
Well, as I mentioned, trying is the best way. Trying a lesson, at least one lesson with them, is the best way to know if they are good enough for you. Yeah.
Good enough for you.
Yes, if they are good enough.
I mean, that's the first way. That's the first way.
That's
Trying,
the
right?
first step. And then you have to talk with them, like you have to explain your situation. You have to say that I'm having issues with this and that, but I'm good at this and that. That's how you can communicate with your teacher, and that's how you can be close with them. That's how you can actually learn something from them. That's the second way.
And the final way.
And the final way is you just have to listen to your feelings. Like, you will get a feeling that teacher, that person is the one who can teach you something. You will just feel it. You just have to follow your instincts, and you just have to go for it if you feel that person is the right one.
So do you think personalities of a student, the personality of a student should match the personality of a teacher?
I don't think that's really necessary, but in some cases it would be good if they had like same personality. It will help them to get on well and to communicate, but I don't think that's the main thing, because they're not being friends or they're not mirroring each other. They're just a student and a teacher. They don't have to be like, they don't have to have exact same personality. They will just cope with each other.
That's great, man. So the next question is, you got 7 in 2023, right?
Yes.
So in December.
Yeah.
So, and the question is, just why did you decide to retake the IELTS exam? So just after achieving your desired score of 7. So what motivated you to do so?
Well, the main reason is I thought about it like, if I stopped after I got 7, if I stopped trying, if I just went on with my life, made friends, had fun, I would
lose.
Yeah, I would lose my passion, I would lose my interest for English, and I would fail. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to stop. Like, I still don't want to stop. I want to rest until I get straight 9s.
Straight 9s?
Yeah.
That's great. So you got your 7, right? And then what did you do then after getting that 7?
After I got 7.
So you got the 7, and I know that you just went to Surkhandarya, right? Because you were studying there at school, right? So
well, after I got my first result, I decided to take some time off. So I stopped practicing English. Well, not completely stopped. I was still watching my movies and series. After I took my first certificate, after I got my first result, I decided to take some time off for myself to recover. and I took about 2 months, and I decided that if I didn't start again, I would lose my knowledge. I would start forgetting things. So I started self-studying at home after school. And then it didn't really help because self-studying is not really my cup of
Okay,
tea.
can you tell me just the reasons why self-studying is not the best option for students who already got 7?
Well, it may be best option for those who can self-study, but personally, I can't study by myself. I need someone who guides me through it all. I need a voice who responds. I need someone who listens and responds.
What about
who gives
ChatGPT?
opinions? Well,
It can also respond to any questions that you can ask.
ChatGPT is really intelligent. He knows a lot of things. He knows tons of things, but he's not human
Being, right?
Yeah, he's not a human being, and you
But
need
you need
someone who actually understands and listens.
Who
Someone with
feels you,
emotions.
who feels you, right?
Yeah, someone who feels you.
So that's great. So
And I was just lazy to self-study that too.
so it all comes down to your personality as well,
Yeah.
right? You are not disciplined enough.
Yeah.
If you have that
I
freedom,
don't have
you'll
enough
just
patience to.
if you have that freedom, you will just take a lot of time off and
Yeah,
you'll go passive.
kinda.
Which 3 would you recommend? I mean, which 3 movies or series would you recommend to students learning English?
There are
Out of all you watched.
tons of great movies and series out there, and I have tried almost all of them. I'm still trying the rest, and my all-time top 3 favorites are, first one is it's a show about kids called Stranger Things, and the second one is a sitcom called Modern Family, and the third one is a British TV show which is still airing, which started airing in 19 something. It's been like over 90 years. It's called Doctor Who. Yeah, these are my all-time top 3 favorites.
Perfect. So you inspired not only students, but me as well. I've started watching different movies and series after just seeing you how passionate you are about watching different movies and films. You know what? For example, when I watch different movies and series, it's quite difficult for me to concentrate on that movie.
Yeah.
I just always fall asleep while watching different things. So it's quite difficult. And the question is, can you tell me just how you concentrate on the thing that you are watching? I mean, the movie or the series you are watching.
First of all, you have to be passionate about it, and you have to love the series. You can,
That's great.
if you don't like the series or the cast or the genre, you would just find yourself sleeping. It would be boring. So, and every time I watch something, either it's a movie or TV show or series or reality show, I just live with it. I block all the noise from outside, and I just blend with the characters. I find myself inside the series, so I think that's how.
Do you think your personality, like being introverted, helped you to get that 7 first and then 8?
Well, I don't think it's really about my personality, but
Do you think that matters?
I don't think so.
Uh-huh.
Being an introvert or an extrovert is not a big deal with what you get, with what results you get. It may have some effects at first. If you were an introvert, you would have a hard time finding friends and communicating with others. That's why I had some troubles when I first came to Everest. I couldn't communicate, I couldn't talk to anyone. I was shy and introvert.
So, some of my students are always complaining about just their shyness, that they always say that it's quite difficult
Sometimes
for
it
them
can be
to,
a problem.
communicate and to speak to somebody else. even if they are studying in one group. For example, there are some students of mine who never speak to, the person who sits next to them because they are
Yes, I
shy.
know.
So how is it possible to overcome this shyness for students?
Well, for personally to overcome this shyness, to become an extrovert, it didn't took me long.
Uh-huh.
I realized I wasn't introvert. I just had to find my people. I just had to find the right people who I can be, open with, yeah, who I can freely talk with. My ex-group mates from last year really helped me to become a new person, to become an extrovert, because they would urge me to talk. They would just sit next to me, ask some questions, ask whether if I can have a speaking session with them. So I think that's how I became less of a shy person.
What advice would you give to students who are the same age as you?
First of all, you gotta listen to yourself and stop listening to other people, to what they say. When I started studying at Everest, when I started studying for IELTS, a lot of people said to me that you're so young, why do you need IELTS anyway? You can get it later. But I didn't listen to them and I didn't stop. That's how I got that's how I came all this way, and
People never stop judging you.
people never stop judging you. You can't spend your life listening to other people's opinions. You have to be your own person. You have to listen to yourself. And you should never stop.
Working.
You should never stop working, yes. There were times where I wanted to drop out, where I wanted to stop learning English at all. But I took some time off. Taking some time off is okay. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling overwhelmed by everything around you, it's totally okay, because you're a teenager, we are a teenager, and it's okay to feel things. So you have to take some time off, maybe a week, maybe 3 days, until you are ready again, until you are full of energy again. But you should never stop at all, because once you stop, you will lose your passion and it would be really hard to start again.
Being a being a motivator also suits you best. So you,
Thank you.
so look, and there are some multiple questions that I'm gonna ask here. So the next one is, why did you choose to study in my groups again? So even though there are a lot of teachers with more experience, with a higher IELTS score, right? So I know it sounds a bit strange for me to ask this question as a
Maybe it's
teacher,
okay.
but can you tell me about it? So that's quite interesting for me to listen to this
Well,
answer.
because we have come a long way. We have been together for 7 months last year.
For
think.
7 months, yes, last year.
Yeah,
And for
almost 7 months last year. And we had that bond. We shared a special bond, and you weren't just a teacher for me. Okay. You weren't just a teacher for me. You were like a brother, and you helped me a lot through my ways, through my growth, and that's why I decided to come back to you again. And I knew how much of an expert you were on your field, and I knew you well. I knew your personality. I knew what kind of person you were. I knew how great you were, and
so thank you.
That's why I came again.
So can I describe this like a true loyalty to a teacher? So do you think loyalty exists when it comes to a teacher and a student relationship?
Oh yeah, it sure does.
So, and do you think it is important to be loyal to your teacher?
Whether it's important or not is arguably, it depends. It depends on the person, on the teacher, on the student itself. But for me, loyalty is really important, and that's why I came back to you again.
Thank you. So can you just describe me using just 3 different adjectives?
If I were to describe you using 3 adjectives, I would say sharp, intelligent, and most important of all, understanding.
Let's talk about your scores. So you got 8.5 balls in listening and in reading, right?
Yeah, this year.
So, can you tell me about it? How did it happen? How you got the 8.5 in both sections?
Well, it was also a surprise to me because after my exam, I had a breakdown. I thought I didn't make it.
So, and the question is, so look,
Yeah.
you got 8.5 in listening, right? So, what was
Yes.
your previous score
My previous score was 7. On listening,
in listening, right?
my previous score was 8. Last year I got 8.
But this time you got 8.5, right?
8.5, yeah.
That's not a big deal for you. That's great. So, what was your previous reading score? So you got 8.5 this time, right?
Yeah.
But I know that you just found it quite challenging working with reading sections and passages, right?
It was challenging.
Last year, but this time you got 8.5, and your previous score.
My previous reading score was 6.5.
That's great. So
Last
you
year.
improved your reading score by 2 points, right?
Yes.
Okay, what did you do to improve that? I mean, to get that 8.5?
Well, I started reading books, like not that how to improve your reading in 7 days or something. I started to read.
Not a course book, right?
Yeah, not course books. I started reading actual books, like poetry, novels, all those types of genres, and I think they really helped me to improve my reading skills.
Just reading books can really help students
there were
to get a good score in terms of reading.
I didn't really change my techniques. I didn't really change my methods from last year. I just improved them. And one thing I added this year, one thing I didn't do last year, but I did this year, was reading books, reading novels in English. Everything else was same.
How many books have you completed until you? Had you completed until you took the exam?
Well, let me count. From June, I started coming to your group again this year in 2024 in June. So from June till December, I have finished about 10 books, I think.
10 books?
Yeah, it's not that much.
So guys, just read 10 books and improve your reading scores by 2 points. So that's possible. You see, just a student who got 8.5 in reading. You can do this as well. Talking about your writing score. So I was quite, sad, and I was quite disappointed.
Yeah, same goes for me.
Seeing that you got 6.5 in writing. So you could have got much better.
Yeah, but it is what it is, and
So okay, you got what? 6.5, right?
Yeah.
So your previous score was
6.
Just.
It improved. It was same with listening. It improved with a point, half a point.
So what did you do to improve your writing?
Well, I focused on writing a lot. I wrote like 2 essays a day for the past month, and I analyzed essays, and I did everything I can. I tried every method, but they didn't help me. I don't know why. Because, well...
Which one do you think works best for you?
Which one? Well, analyzing essays really helped me to find out about the new ways to...
Structure your sentences?
New structures, new grammatical structures, new vocabulary, how to use them properly, and...
That's great. So talking about your speaking, you are my first student who got higher in speaking than me. Yeah. So you got 7.5, right?
Yes.
Okay, you got 6.5 for the first time, but I said to you that that wasn't your full and true potential, right?
Yes.
You got 6.5, and we were both just disappointed and frustrated.
Yeah.
While seeing your score at
I
that
thought
time.
about retaking one skill, retaking the speaking, but I didn't, because I thought, what if it's even lower if I retake, and I just went on with it.
So you got 7.5 in speaking, right?
Yeah.
So and the question is, what did you do to improve your speaking score by a point?
Well, I started surrounding myself with English, and I started speaking English a lot more compared to last year. And I started speaking in English in class too, speaking in English to you and the students,
With everybody else?
with everybody else,
Yes.
everybody who could understand
With
English.
your buddies, right?
Yeah, with my buddies, with my friends, they also understand English. So I think that's how
So
I
some
got it
students say
into it.
that it's quite, it's quite impossible for them to speak English at home with their parents or with their brothers and sisters, I mean
Yeah.
siblings, right? So do you think it's possible to speak English at home as well? So do you speak
It
yourself?
is. I mean, even if your parents cannot understand what you're saying, you can speak in English. I used to speak English to my mom sometimes when I was bored. She wouldn't understand it. She would just laugh, and but it really improved me.
You
And
can speak and you can help them to translate different words
yeah,
into
sometimes
Uzbek, right?
I teach them some words like hello means this and that, and this means this means that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just it is possible to speak English at home as well, right?
Yes, it
But it
is.
depends on a person.
Yeah, you don't
And
have to speak with someone. You can just speak to yourself too.
that's
And
what I always recommend myself.
yeah, you can just think in English. You can just look at something like it's my phone and that's the table, that's the rug. So I think that helps too. I speak to myself a lot when I'm alone. It may sound weird, but it really helps me to collect all my thoughts.
Okay, so look, here is the next question.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask, do you think it is important to work hard? Do you think it's important to work hard, or do you think it's important to work smart?
It is important to work smart. Working hard is not everything. You can't just sit and do analysis or do reading for straight 6 hours. It won't pay off. You have to work smarter. You have to do reading for an hour and then analyze for 2 hours, and that's how you can. That's like it's an example, yeah.
So working smart is better than
Working
working
smart
hard.
is better than working harder, yeah.
So
Definitely.
So that's the guys. So most of you ask, and most of the viewers can ask just, is it good to work and is it good to study at nights? Yes, I myself and I was preparing for an IELTS exam, just studying and doing a lot of practice tests at night. I can say that they helped me a bit, but the most important thing that you have to know is just working smart is better than working hard. You have to do different things effectively. I mean, you have to work and you have to write things. Essays, your task 1 and task 2 essays, when you feel that that's the right time to write. So you shouldn't waste your time working at nights. Just working at nights can help, but not as much as working smart.
Not as much as we think, yeah.
Yeah, not as much as we think, because you have to get sufficient sleep, right?
Yes.
Because you have to be ready for the next day.
Ever since I started studying for IELTS, I never really worked that hard. I don't remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just why I asked this question from
Yeah,
you.
I don't remember staying up until 1 or 2 a.m. doing homework. I slept when I was sleepy, and I ate when I was hungry, and I rested when I was tired. I didn't push myself too far. I didn't
That's
push
how you can
myself
get
off
eight.
the limits. You have to give yourself.
You have to give yourself what?
You have to listen to your body. You have to listen to yourself. You can't just exhaust yourself and work over time. You have to rest. Sleep is really important for you.
So, and the final question is this, man. Can you suggest top 3 pieces of advice to students who are studying English and who are preparing for an IELTS exam?
Well, my first
So,
advice,
who really wanted to get at least 8, for example?
Yeah, okay. Well, my first advice is to never stop, never listen to others. Do what your heart tells you to do, and don't push yourself too hard. And my second advice is listen to your teacher and ask about anything you want to ask. Don't hesitate. hesitation kills your talent. Hesitation is not a good thing. You don't have to be shy about your questions, or you should be open with your teacher. You should be like friends with them. You should be able to say whatever you have in mind. You should be able to speak with them openly. My third advice is, before your exam, always take a dua from your grandparents, from your parents, and from your close ones. That really helps you to get your desired score.
You know, I know a lot of things happening around your life, you know.
Yeah.
And so the question is, you promised your dad to get an 8, and
Yes.
you could show before this all things happened.
Yeah.
And the question is, so why did you promise your dad to get 8?
My father really wanted me to get an 8 this year, because he would always tell that you should get 7 until you finish 9th grade, and you should get 8 until you finish 10th grade, and by the time you finish your school, you should get a 9. You should get overall 9, and you would have a lot of opportunities. You can study abroad, you can work somewhere if you want. And getting 8 was not only my dream, but it was also my father's wish. It was also my father's dream. And I would like to thank my mother and my father for all the love they gave and for all the support. And I'm really glad that I could get 8 this year, and I'm really glad that my father passed away knowing that I achieved my dreams, and I had a chance to make him proud. That's what I'm really glad of. And I would like to thank my first teacher too. Mrs. Mohabbat was my first teacher. She started teaching me English when I was in 5th grade. And the things she has done for me is the things she has taught me is unforgettable, and I'm forever grateful.
Thank you. Just thank you for everybody else just listening to our interview
Thank you.
from the beginning till the end. And I hope it would be quite useful for you and for everybody else out there who are preparing for an IELTS exam. We are going to complete it with saying that work smart just instead of working hard, because it's better and it's much important for a student who is in the same age as him. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you all.